On this episode of Horror Timelines, we are traveling into the depths of West Virginia to check out the Wrong Turn series. Now, full confession, I've only ever seen one of these before. I saw part two. I hadn't seen any of the others, but I figured enough people have requested it and wanted to see me do it, so I figured it was time to go ahead and take care of it. And let me just say, you know what? Do you guys hate me? Everything kicks off in 2003 with Wrong Turn, and after these opening credit newspapers, which let us know that we're at least set past 1994, we then start with that guy from Dexter crashing into Faith, Elton, and a few other victims. Well, they start dropping off pretty quickly, and then we meet the Mutant Hillbilly Clan, and didn't I already cover the Hills Have Eyes series? There's a standard car graveyard that we normally see in these things, and then we get a closer look at our three cannibals with Three Finger, Sawtooth, and One Eye. Scott goes down quicker than May got him, and there's a series of chases and kills, where One Eye finally gets run over, Sawtooth gets arrowed, and Three Finger gets axed. And then they blow them up, but a mid-credit scene lets us know that at least Three Fingers survived. There's no date in this movie, so let's just tentatively say 2003 for now. 4 years passed, and in 2007 we finally got a sequel with Wrong Turn 2, Dead End. We go back to West Virginia because this is totally different from Hills Have Eyes. That's in the desert, duh. We start with an American Idol person getting killed. I have no idea who, because come on, why would I? It's Three Finger and a new guy named Brother, but then Henry Rollins rolls in as the head of a reality show about survival with a group of randos. They introduce the obvious final girl and new cannibals Ma and Sister. Sister gives birth to a little mutant, and surprise, that girl you thought was the lead is dead. We meet the last hillbilly, Pa, and Black Flag shoots Three Fingers and then runs into the gas station guy from the first film, and he's apparently related to the clan, as he calls Three Finger his boy and then gets blowed up. Next up, obligatory car graveyard, and then dinner with the family scene. So we've transitioned from Hills to Texas Chainsaw territory. Henry keeps his MVP status by taking out Brother and Sister before getting killed. Nina and Jake toss Pa and Ma into a wood chopper, but we find Three Fingers still alive and feeding the mutant baby. Now, no date is given again, but it's obvious some time has passed, as Three Fingers has mostly healed from his injuries in the first one, so let's roll with about 2 years between films and go with 2005. 2 more years passed, and in 2009 we see Wrong Turn 3 Left for Dead. It kicks off with Three Fingers doing what the Three Fingers be doing, and some Pixar-quality digital effects. We then meet a prison transfer headed through the woods, and then see Three Toes, who is apparently Three Fingers' son. So this kid is the baby from the previous film, and he's at least 10 years, so that sets this one ahead of itself in 2015, unless something changes then. The time shift is reflected in Three Fingers' white hair, because I guess he'd be pretty old by now, and they derail the prison transport. They team up with a lost college student and find an armored car and kill Three Toes, which obviously doesn't go over well with his dad, uncle, brother, whatever. Quick thought, 2 people survived the first one and 2 more survived the second, and they were part of a TV production, so I'm sure that the killings would have made headlines, so you'd think that more people would be aware of the presence of killer hillbillies in that area. Even if they assumed that they were all dead, you'd think someone would maybe mention it and law enforcement would be looking out for it. I mean, they even come across the watchtower for the first movie, so Three Fingers hasn't even really changed locations. Anyway, a lot of people die, and a German Shepherd shows up because I really needed another reason to compare this to Hills Have Eyes. Big face-off, and Three Fingers gets impaled, and although the heroes drive away in a truck, he manages somehow to get ahead of them on foot or whatever, and then he's finally meat-hooked in the head. And he was the last of the family, and I would say he's probably pretty dead here. But Nate decides to go back for the money, but is betrayed by Brandon, who is then killed by yet another cannibal who may be Three Fingers, but who knows at this point, oh Jesus. Is that what these are going to be? Am I going to need drinks for this? 2 years later, in 2011, comes Wrong Turn 4, Bloody Beginnings, which was written and directed by the director of the last one, so buckle up. It starts by telling us that we're in 1974, the first solid date of the series. We meet the Hilliker brothers, three deformed patients, and it's young Three Fingers, One Eye, and Sawtooth, and we're told that they can't feel pain, which explains quite a lot. They get loose, start killing, and we jump to 2003, and it's winter. And if we're set before the first film, that would have to be either early in the year, like January or February, or winter, and the first film would take place the year after, so let's roll as is for now. Anyway, a group of more annoying than usual college kids ends up in the abandoned insane asylum, and when the hillbillies attack, they stay there. And when they have them captive, they don't kill them, even though they just watch them torture a friend to death. And this series has shifted from a Hills Have Eyes clone to Texas Chainsaw clone to, well, pretty much standard slasher clone. So the sanitarium has power because the teens find the generator and turn it on, but the hillbillies were staying there without using it, so how do they survive the cold? I mean, I know they don't feel pain or anything, but that shouldn't really matter to frostbite. Anyway, everyone gets killed, including the last two girls, who for some reason drive straight into a barbed wire fence, and the brothers pack up and leave, and these just keep getting crappier, don't they? Quick point, the end credits state that the brothers were ages 8, 9, and 10 in the opening, which would make them 39, 38, and 37 here, making Three Fingers like 50 years old in Part 3. 1 year later, 2012 brought us Wrong Turn 5, Bloodlines, from the same writer and director as the last one. Doug Bradley shows up because I guess rent was due, and he's with the boys. We start with Camping Teens, which is crazy original, and they tell us that it's Halloween, so that'd have to be Halloween 03, making the first film set in 04, although we'll keep the second in 2005 with a 1 year gap in between. So there's this festival, and people dress like hillbillies so the boys can be in town, and whoops, it looks like Odette's here was arrested in 2012, so what year is this? Can this be 9 years after the last one in a different continuity that allows the brothers to be alive? I mean, these flat screen monitors existed in 03, but they weren't exactly common, but then this truck says it's the 03 festival, so I guess it's 03, so whatever. Anyway, people start to get killed, and Iron Fist's computer screen confirms 03. And a bunch of people, I guess, are trapped in like a whole empty town, which is empty because apparently every single person except for these four at the festival, which is one hell of a turnout. Then it's basically a bunch of annoying characters getting killed by the most annoying killers in all of horror. It's kind of dull, mean-spirited, and not 1 ounce of fun. This one made me doubt my channel again. Should I do Disney timelines? I should mention that Doug Bradley is supposed to be the old man character from the first two, although he looks extremely different and more functional than he would like a year later, so I guess it was a really bad year. But everyone ends up dead except for the cannibals and the one girl that they apparently take off to the woods to rape and kill like they said they would. Fun! 2 years later brought us Wrong Turn 6, Last Resort, and we're back in West Virginia where every person talks with a European accent. And suddenly Fat Three Finger is able to outrun people on bikes. One Eye and Sawtooth are here too, so I guess we're still set before the first one, and then there's this hotel out near the woods, and hey, that guy has a GoPro. I mean, according to Wikipedia, the first models came out in 04, but they weren't prominent until at least 06 or 07, so this is definitely after the first one, or we have an anachronism. For some reason, the brothers are at the hotel, and they team up with the weird caretakers, who they are also apparently related to, yet look completely normal. This wall of missing flyers then shows this dog missing since 2012, and, this Jack Russell with huge balls, apparently. And then the sheriff posts a missing flyer for the lady that we saw killed earlier. It gives her last seen date as November 25th, 2013, which means that this film can't be a prequel to the first one, so we only have a couple of options. This is set in the series continuity and takes place between parts 2 and 3, although Three Toes is nowhere to be seen and the dead brothers are alive here, or most likely part 4 isn't really a prequel and is actually a reboot, and 4, 5, and 6 are a separate continuity, not actually connected to the first 3. There's actually a third option, which is these are terrible and it doesn't matter. I mean, it's a Victorian castle with hoity-toity servants, which is a million miles away from the inbred hillbilly mountain clan we've been watching, although they do finally show up with a bunch of members, and it turns out that Danny's related to them somehow. But hey, if you ever wanted to see a movie where shouting people jam a fire hose up a guy's butt until his stomach explodes, well, Here you go. All the normal folks die, and Danny joins the family, continuing the bloodline by banging his relative, and holy crap, am I glad that that's over with. So there you have it, 6 movies that don't tie together too well at all. They tried to do the prequel thing, I guess. Don't know why. I guess they really wanted to use those 2 characters that died in the first one, although they don't really do anything very memorable or stand out anyway, so I guess they could have been any random hillbilly character whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense. But then again, a lot of these movies don't make any sense, like why they made them, because they're really not that good. I guess I enjoyed the second one. It was kind of fun, but the rest of them, yeah, not a fan. So if you are, let me know down below in the comments, or if you just enjoyed this video more than you enjoyed the actual movie, let me know what you thought of that as well too. Also do the normal liking and subscribing of stuff. Check out my Patreon page if you want to kick me over some money. These people up here are kind enough to actually contribute to my channel, so please join them, and I will mention you here with their names as well, and you can help me keep going. But in the meantime, I'll see you in another couple of weeks for another great video. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.